Well, torn apart again, and another set of seals put in it. Don't know what we're going to find out. Makes things interesting, though. Well, hi, guys. I just got back with the long. Just drove her home. Whew. It's a bumpy ride. This thing's like driving a rubber ball. Bounces. So far, so good. No leaks. So we're doing good on that. Yeah. But she's home now. I shall be doing a couple of videos on her here very shortly. So you might say stay tuned. There's more to come. So hang on, guys. I'll be right back. Well, hi, guys. As you can see, I got the long home, and it's been fixed. Now, I don't want to say unfortunately, but there was a little unfortunate incident with it, in that the first time around didn't solve the problem. There's three seals in it. One is at the transmission, or I should say the transmission. Then there's the brakes. Then there's the inner plate with the bearing and a seal. The final drive's inside, the planetaries, and the axle. Unfortunately, the outer seal, this one, when he put the new one in, said it felt good on the axle shaft, but he said it was a little too loose going into the housing. It's, according to the book, it is what is supposed to be in it. Well, he put the seals in, got it all put together, which you gotta take the fender off, the back tire, pull the entire axle off and apart, and that gets it fixed. But it had sat there inside the shop for about 4 days and hadn't leaked, so he figured it's good to go. Set it outside, and I went down to pick it up. It was dripping. And the only thing we can think of, there's two possibilities here. One, it was leaking around the outside of the seal between the casting. And two, it was leaking because it was building pressure. That's 80-90 weight gear oil, and it was in a cool building, and it was put outside on a day where it was 86 degrees. Now, the axle has a plug on top with a dipstick. And after he had it all apart, put the new seal, he brought it back in, took it all apart again, put another new seal in it. This time he put sealant around the outside of the seal. And we looked and discovered there is a vent hole in that cap that was plugged up. So, new seal, it got unvented, the vent cleaned out, refilled with oil. I drove it home. It's not leaking one bit. So we're crossing our fingers that it's fixed this time. So money well spent in my book. She's ready to go to work now. But while it was down there, I really got to thinking about this air cleaner. Now, I'll show you here. As you can see, it's in under the hood. And, you know, it's out of the weather. It's protected. You know, I thought, well, this will be all right. Well, I was a little mistaken. What I've been thinking about on the 95 is the way this building sweats. You've seen video last fall where I had corn sitting in here in wagons, and the day I opened the building up to unload it, there's water running off the sides of the wagon. So anything in this building sweats miserably bad. I got to thinking about it. And I got to thinking about how this tractor was running last year after I took it down, got the new fuel or injector pump put on, drove it home. It just didn't quite seem quite right. It was running good, but I couldn't put my finger on it. And like I say, this tractor had sit over there for 2 years because the pump was leaking into the crankcase. And I knew this. That's why I didn't run it. But I got to thinking about the combine, this tractor. Why was the combine getting hot? Why was this thing not quite running right? And as you've seen in the video, I changed the oil in this, and I filled it up. Well, the day we went to load it up to take it down to get it fixed, it was about a quart low on oil. This thing has never used any oil, never. So it got me thinking more and more and more. And then when he told me that he had drained over a quart of water out of that final drive, something just is jumping up and down in my head. Because when I redid this tractor, I changed every fluid in it. Final drives, rear end, transmission, hydraulics, everything got changed. So I knew it was clean. I knew it was good. So that led me to the air filter, wondering about it. Means it's getting as wet as it is in here if it's not plugging that filter up. So I took the cap off, and I noticed there's an awful lot of rust there, which shouldn't be there. And I took the filter out. Doesn't look too bad until the mice had got into that air cleaner, chewed their way into it here and there. And they was the biggest, nastiest glob of crap on top of this you've ever seen in your life. Now, just for shits and giggles, we've plugged this in, put an air hose down it, and it launched this thing. You couldn't hardly blow anything through it. So that explains why it used quart oil, because the crankcase is ventilated to the intake. So it was sucking air and oil, whatever it could get out of the crank. So while it was sitting there, it got a brandy new filter put in it. And as you can see, there is a big difference in the colors of those two. This filter may have 50 total hours of runtime on it. However, with the mice shitting and pissing all over it, and the building sweating like it does, it's thoroughly saturated and useless. So, like I say, this got a new filter put on it before it came home, before it got started up to come home. I can honestly say this is something I have never, ever come across before in my life. I've never, ever, ever had mice get into one of these filters and plug it up. Now the worst thing was, when I took this off, and you can see it, this whole inside was packed with mouse crap. And I'm going to have to clean this out real good, and that's one of the projects I'm going to be working on later today, is get the inside of this cleaned up and coated with some oil to keep it from rusting anymore. Literally, this is literally one I have never had to deal with before. Never. Never had an issue with an air filter. Sorry about that, guys. Battery's died. But it's a problem I've never, ever, ever, ever had a problem with. I've never, ever had one of these filters plugged up like that. Never seen one plugged up like that on something that was sitting in a barn. And I'm going to have to make something to go into this air cleaner, basically to block mice from getting out of it, getting into it, because let's face it, that's kind of ridiculous. But now that I've seen this filter, I'm wondering if it's not the same problem on the 95, and I'm going to have to check this 4400 for the same issue. So it's, I don't want to say a learning process, but when you see this, it really starts your mind going. So, but be that as it may, the long is home. It is fixed. It has a new air filter. The oil is changed from, when I did it last fall. And she's ready to go to work. So I'm going to clean this up here in a bit and put her back together, and she should be good to go. I've also got a new switch, push button switch for the case for the preheater. And I'll be hopefully getting back to that too today, if I can. Yeah, that's a separate video altogether, but you kind of see what's going on. I'm getting a lot of little things done. The long, for all intents and purposes, is ready to go now. My Oliver sitting out here, same thing, it's ready to go. And get this switch put in and the key switch put in the hole, and it'll be good to go. So, I'll be getting to that here hopefully today. And I want to check this skid steer. I want to check the air filter on it for the same reason. And hopefully I don't find anything wrong in it. $25 a filter. It starts to get kind of expensive if you start changing a bunch of filters. So, I'm going to get off here, guys. I've got to go retrieve the neighbor. Told him I'd come pick him up from the tractor dealership. So, I got to get moving. So, we'll see you next time. And as always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. And if you don't think something like this can happen, do yourself a favor. Check it out, because I really didn't think a mouse could get inside of one of these. But apparently they can. So, check it out. And I really hope he had a sore belly from eating on all that plastic. Because it was, you've got an entire fin and all this, plus where he's chewed here and here, and there. So I hope he got a bellyache. But we'll see you next time, guys. And as always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. Do yourself a favor. Check it. See you next time, guys.